Hi everyone, so as you know, every Wednesday I do relationship videos. So some of them have been on my YouTube channel. This is on Marian Hanson Counselling Service. Some of them have been shorts over the last few weeks because I've been making quite a few like shortened versions of videos. So you might look on my videos and you might just see, oh, it was 3 weeks ago that she did a relationship video. No, it's in the shorts section. But this one is really just talking about how you can play your part when it comes to a relationship. So as someone that has been working with couples for many years, but also when I've been in my own relationships and you've had to reflect as well, I do a lot of reflection. It's this idea of playing your part, because so many people are in a habit of telling their partner what they need from them, telling their partner what they want, telling their partner what they're doing wrong. And you might not even be aware that you're doing it. I think it's a natural thing sometimes for some people to just point out the bad. And that's not just in relationships, that's in general. If your mind is wired in a negative way, then you're going to see the negative more than the positive. So what you have to consider is, are you playing your part? And what does that mean? Well, I've got 5 areas really what you can reflect on and you can think about. The first one is point scoring. How many times are you in your relationship taking points of, oh, well, you did that wrong. Oh, you've done that again. And in your mind, you've got this checklist where you're saying, well, you did that last week. And then when you're in an argument, all of these darts start coming out. Well, you did this last week and you did this last year and you did this. So you're keeping points. What about if you were to just get rid of that whole idea and you were to say that my partner is human, I'm human, we're going to make mistakes. I already know, if you said at the beginning of your relationship, I already know at some point he's going to mess up. I already know at some point I'm going to mess up. So that's an acceptance of that happening, but you're not there taking score. You're not there saying, well, I'm going to bring this back up when we have an argument because it's you know, something I can use against the person. So that's one thing, which is about you making a conscious decision and a conscious effort to say you're not going to do that. The second thing is similar, but it's a bit different, and that is blaming. So sometimes people can blame their partner for absolutely everything. They can blame their partner for how they're feeling. They can blame their partner for things going wrong in the relationship. They can blame their partner for their personality. You know, recently I've been, I'm on the Strictly Come Dancing fans page. And it's so interesting because it's just a show, but if you, the people are serious, the Strictly fans are serious people. I don't even watch the show that much. I've only really tuned into this year. But the amount of criticism to do with people's personalities, the amount of like criticism to do with if someone is being too comedic on the show, if someone is wearing a certain outfit on the show, if someone is flashing their muscles on the show, if someone dances, and it's very critical. And what I'm sort of saying, bringing that back to really is that sometimes we can keep blaming other people when that's just who they are. Like today, when I was having a discussion with someone, I said, how about we just accept the person for who they are and what they're doing instead of like judging it? Because sometimes you can just say, well, if my partner wants to come home from work and they feel like putting their feet up and watching TV, then it doesn't mean that they don't care about you and because they haven't like spent time with you. It doesn't mean that they don't want to help with the housework. We can't just keep making assumptions. Maybe they've had a bad day and they just want to sit and watch some TV. So instead of blaming, if we're coming from a place of understanding instead, what we would do is it would just be a different energy, but it would be a different way of communicating with someone. So stop the point scoring, stop the blaming. The next one is a video I've already made, which is about not forcing things, just going with the flow a bit more. And going with the flow is used in the wrong way sometimes because it just means, oh, you're someone that's laid back, you go with the flow, you don't have any boundaries, you don't really care about what's happening. That's not how I see it when I'm using it. I'm using it in the sense of instead of being forceful in some situations, instead of what you have to think is, push and pull are two opposite ends. No one also wants to be in a situation where they feel like they're being pushed into something, where they're feeling like they're being forced. Now, even though you might think you have to tell that person 50 times to put the shelf up, do you know what I mean? If you tell them once and they don't do it, you can make a conscious decision that you either trust in the process, meaning that you've told the person and they're going to do it when they get round to it, or you can have a consequence where you say, right, I need this person to put that up by the end of the week. If they haven't, you go back to them and you have an adult to adult conversation. But when you have these situations where people are constantly nagging or forcing or telling or instructing, it means you go out of girlfriend or boyfriend mode and you go into parent mode, and no one wants to feel like they're dating their dad or their mum. So the minute you start saying, why haven't you put the dishes away? Why are you always late to pick up the kids? You're going into that mode, whereas you could just be adult to adult and say, that shelf has been sitting out there. I bought it from IKEA like last week. It would be good to have it up because then I could put all the pictures up, and it's getting on my nerves. It's just sitting there because it's getting in the way. That's an adult conversation to have because you're saying why it's bothering you. You can then ask the person, would you be able to put the shelf up this weekend? They can then decide as an adult and say, yes, I can do that, or not this weekend, but I'll do it whenever. Just adult to adult instead of the nagging, the forcing, the blaming. The next one is self-reflection, because this is about playing your part. Playing your part means that you reflect and you look at what you're doing in the relationship. Everyone is looking at what everyone else is doing. Married at First Sight is a good example of the experts being so biased because they just want entertainment value. Mel, she's the blonde lady, she's the most biased, but also does not have a clue what she's doing. And I don't care if people think, yeah, she's getting paid a lot of money, she's on there. To me, I don't even think she might have a qualification, but she does not operate as a couples expert. She's always looking at things from the woman's perspective, which is not a problem in itself, except when the women are wrong, she will never call it out. Whereas Paul Brunson, he's one of the other experts, at least he calls out both parties when they need to be called out. So self-reflection means that you look at what you're doing in the relationship, you look at how you're impacting on the relationship as a whole. No one's perfect. But if you're in a position where you're constantly saying, the only reason that I'm upset is because of you, the only reason that this relationship isn't working is because of you, if everything is the other person's fault, then that means you're saying you're perfect and that you don't have any space to, improve things. And no one wants to hear that they're at fault for everything, because eventually they're just going to give up and say, I don't want to be in this relationship. So playing your part means that you're saying, I know that maybe I could be a bit more supportive. I know that I could be this or could be this. And you're not just doing it for your partner, you're doing it for yourself. You're reflecting for yourself. And the final bit is pulling it all together, really, is when you view the relationship as a whole, a sum of both parts, the yin and the yang. So you see the two of you as in combination, in sync with each other, because the minute you start viewing your relationship as there's two of you in it, we're a team, when one thing affects you, then it affects me as well. You start looking at it as blaming the other person, and you start seeing it as, how can we make this work? How can we make this relationship stronger? You start saying, when you're apart from the person, if I do something like cheat, or if I do something like spend money secretly, or if I do something like gamble or use drugs, then it's going to impact both of us. You're not doing things in a selfish way. You're not saying, well, I can do what I want, she doesn't control me, or I can cheat if I want because I won't get caught. You're saying, no matter what I do when I'm with the person or away from the person, it's going to impact on both of us. So all it's about really is playing your part, and all that really means is that you're looking at yourself as an individual, but you're looking at yourself within that relationship, and you're saying, how can we work as a team? How can everything I do, how can I reflect on it to see if what I'm doing is for the good of the relationship? So I hope you found this video useful. If you have, feel free to share it. Feel free to leave your comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.